Is St. George, Utah the cheapest, nice place to live? Our business partner, Sue, likes to say that, and we started thinking about it, and we're like, you know what? She's right. So we're just going to compare St. George to some other places to live around the country, and we'll see if the numbers bear that out. So,
spoiler, we win.
So we like to use bestplaces.net just to stay consistent, right? You want to be comparing apples to apples, so we're just going to go off of what they say. So St. George, they say, in terms of housing cost, so average for the United States is 100, and St. George is 144.8, so 149, so about 50% more. So of an average cost of living for the United States.
And you might be thinking at first blush, wow, that's really expensive. You're going 44%, 45% over the median price of the country. Sounds really expensive, but guess what? There's a lot of the places of this country that kind of suck, that people would rather not live in. And this is actually a nice place that people want to.
That actually is true, yeah. When people are like, oh, this place is cheaper, this place is cheaper, I'm like,
yeah. Well, would you want to live there?
But I don't want to live there. Okay, we're not going to disparage, we're not going to name names.
Yes,
we're
just know that there's sucky places out there.
Yes, well, of course, everyone's got, what they want, right? But St. George is a beautiful, wonderful place to live, so it's actually nice, right? And then, Sean was saying the other places that are cheaper, a lot of them, you wouldn't want to live there anyways, but then let's talk about, a lot of the places that people come from and just how expensive those places are. I mean, the number one place people come from, obviously, everyone knows the bad word, California.
We came from there, so yes.
So California as a state itself, so the whole state, this is not just the nice parts, this is the crap parts of California, which is a lot of places.
There are some really, people think California is this, like the whole state is beautiful. It's really not.
No,
so,
it's the coast.
Yes,
the coast is beautiful. The rest
of it
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole state of California is 235, and then let's just go like some major metro areas.
That's which is crazy, right? So the whole state,
yeah,
like 40 million people, the whole state is way above what St. George's prices are.
Yeah, and it's more than 2 times the average cost of living of the United States. And then let's just go to like Los Angeles, right? So it's 302, so 3 times the average cost of living.
Double St. George.
Double St. George. And then let's go Silicon Valley, like really, really expensive. Los Gatos, California, very expensive. That is 803.
On sale. Yeah.
8 times.
Crazy.
So you're just looking at maybe some other places in the United States that people come from, obviously way more expensive.
Yeah, because we're kind of doing this video 2 different ways. One is like, where do they come from? And second, is it also kind of, your typical vacation destinations tend to be obviously a little bit more expensive, right?
Yes.
Like that's just kind of what it is. And St. George is one of those.
Yeah, St. George, definitely a tourist destination. So let's start with another tourist destination that's very similar to St. George, and that is Sedona, Arizona, and Flagstaff, Arizona. And we'll throw in Phoenix as well, even though that's not a destination for vacation, more for like working and that kind of stuff. So
before we continue, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Sean Dezad.
And I'm Courtney Dezad, and we are licensed real estate agents here in the state of Utah.
And if you're watching this channel, you might be thinking, wow, Sean, I love Utah. I love the outdoor life. I love the desert and the mountains. I can't wait to move out here now. The problem is I'm not local, maybe even out of state, so I don't know what to do. And I totally get that. That's why you reach out to us, because that way we can have a conversation really finding out specifically what you're looking for and really find that perfect property for you. And also we can actually do virtual tours of not just the property, but also the area as well, just to give you a sense of what you're looking at. So what you want to do is you want to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, remember that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us. And remember that the team we work with here in Utah has over 40 years of experience, so don't forget to call us or text us. So Phoenix is cheaper than St. George. It's 118, so about average. But Flagstaff is more expensive. That's 171, and Sedona is 239.
Yeah, so we're talking about and again, like when you're comparing St. George to these things, definitely Flagstaff and Sedona are much more like the direct corollaries. Like these are like much more comparable as far as what they offer. Do people go there to vacation? Like what do they kind of offer? Actually, in a lot of ways, they offer a lot of similar stuff too.
They do.
With the red rocks and stuff. Like beautiful.
Yeah.
But so are we. So
yeah.
That's kind of the thing. So we're actually like better priced than Flagstaff than Sedona.
Yeah, and Flagstaff's actually similar metro size, although Sedona is tiny.
Yeah.
That's like really, really small. I think only like 5,000 people live there.
It's kind of weird because it's kind of like for a small of a population. I was actually surprised. I was going, wow, for small of a population, you do hear a lot about it. So again, beautiful. We're not disparaging it. It's just that it's going to cost you, and it's more than double what St. George is.
Yeah. And then another thing, Flagstaff, while similar metro size, it's way colder. Like their elevation is way higher. I would say their weather is much more similar to the mountains of Utah, which is, Salt Lake City. So
Yeah, you'll get snow in the winters and stuff. And
Yeah.
obviously understand that the draw to St. George, one of the major draws is the fact that the weather is on the warmer side. So you have you have year-round sun, basically. And so you're not dealing with like shoveling snow and all that other stuff, because we get a lot of people from up north that are like, we're done with it. It was fine for a time, but we do not want to like deal with snow every year, right? So that's where, again, yeah, like you said, Flagstaff kind of has that same like kind of vibe.
Yeah, and since Sean mentioned people who moved down here from up north, let's talk about, so what are the prices up north?
Yeah.
So Utah itself, so the whole state is actually more expensive than St. George, so it's $157.3. So, and then if you go just to, Salt Lake City, so the average housing cost is $179, so significantly more than St. George. And then let's talk about Park City.
Yeah, I mean, it's a vacation destination, right?
Vacation destination, that is $382. So that's way, way more
A
expensive.
little bit more, almost 3 times. Like, so yeah, you're talking about a significantly more. Not saying doesn't deserve it. It's a beautiful, again, like the Olympics were there, right? I mean, it's amazing. However, it's just that you're going to pay for it. And that's where, again, St. George is, this is hammering home. St. George is a really good value for what you get.
For sure. So since we're talking about migration patterns, let's talk about, obviously, everyone knows California is a dirty word, like West Coast. Those are also dirty words, but people do move here from the West Coast. I mean, let's talk about Oregon. So the whole state of Oregon, the average housing cost is $150. So similar to St. George, but Portland, which is, a city where a lot of people live, it's more expensive, $184.
Yeah, and that's still a metro. Like, obviously, you're not talking about Lake Oswego and all like the ritzy parts. We're talking about Portland in general. So it's, again, way more expensive than St. George.
Yeah, and then Seattle is $291.
Ooh, yeah.
So
Toasty.
that's another, part of the country that people come here from. So
Yeah, exactly. It's just, again, we're just kind of saying that, St. George is offering really good value from a lot of places where a lot of people are moving from.
Yeah. Now, another common state that people come from is Idaho. So let's talk about Boise. Boise is a $170. So
Yeah.
it's more expensive than St. George. And then there's, even more expensive parts of Idaho, like the super resort type areas.
For sure, definitely.
Yeah. And since we are very close to Las Vegas, less than 2 hours away, you want to talk about Las Vegas?
Let's do it.
So Las Vegas is definitely cheaper than St. George.
Yeah.
So, but obviously you're getting a totally different experience. Obviously, Las Vegas is a destination for tourism, but it's for a completely different reason, right?
Yeah. I mean, and again, we're not going to disparage Vegas because it's a great city and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
just that some people just don't like the vibe of what Vegas has to give them. But yeah, it is one of those few places that I would say that like is in the same ballpark as St. George, where you're getting like good value for, again, a vacation destination. There's not too many like that.
Yeah. And then since we are, sort of the overall theme of this video is value, right? Like the value for what you're getting. And so obviously Utah, the whole state, and St. George is a little bit above average for cost of living. So let's talk about, I always talk about Texas.
Yeah, we've done versus like state like comparisons between Utah and Texas.
Yeah, because I always talk about Texas when we were talking about average cost of living, because that is a huge reason why people live there, right? It is so cheap. So cheap. I mean, case in point, Houston, Texas, like the actual housing is a 70, so it's 75. So it's less than average for cost of living for the United States. But, it's really hard to compare Houston and St. George because Houston is just like this insanely giant metro area. Like you can drive 2 hours in Houston and still be in Houston. So you can basically drive to Las Vegas and you're still in Houston.
Yeah, so it's as if like Las Vegas, like we were like, it's almost like saying that St. George and Las Vegas are the same city, given the distance is only an hour and 45 minutes. And in Houston, legit, you're about you from one spot to one end to the others, about 2 hours, which is insane. I mean, it's just a huge landmass of a city.
Yeah.
So within that, obviously, you're going to have a lot of variation. That's why, where the prices are, can be more reasonable on average. And again, it's just one of those things where that's your preference. Obviously, like for us personally, like Houston in particular was definitely not on our list because the humidity and just
The weather.
yeah, it wasn't gonna work for our situation at all. Like we wanted to enjoy like the outdoors, and it seems like in Houston, like a lot of times, like you're just dealing with, again, needing to be inside out of necessity.
Yeah, we do have a video comparing Texas to Utah. We do have a lot of experience with Texas because my sister lives there. She's lived there for almost 15 years now. And, you know, we don't want to like disparage Texas or anything. Like, we get it that people love Texas. Like, my sister married a 9th generation Texan. Like, he will never leave Texas.
Now, would you say people love Texans or Texans love Texas? Like, because, like, if you're a transplant, depending on where you're coming from, right, I guess, like, because obviously weather patterns are different all across the country. If you're a transplant, I don't know if you'd love the Texas weather.
Well, just watch the video. Watch what my sister's view of Texas is as somebody who's not from there.
Yeah, it's like people from Chicago, right? Like they love Chicago, but you're going miserable weather. Like I mean, you know, I think Chicagoans would basically admit as much because.
Well, I mean, I used to work with someone from Chicago, and he was like, "Yeah, Chicago's really nice, like 1 month out of the year." So
exactly.
It's just weather. If weather is like a big deal to you, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, and St. George, obviously, again, like it's pulling people that want a different kind of climate, you know, and be able to be outdoors all year round. Again, not that we don't have our hot months in the summer for sure, but you can work around it, and again, our winters are very pleasant.
Yeah, and then since we are talking about Texas, let's talk about Austin. Austin is actually more expensive than St. George.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't even say Houston's necessarily a vacation destination per se. I mean, you're going there to work and live, but I wouldn't say that you're not. Now, Austin, I think, has a little bit more of the vacation vibe going for it. That's why we kind of want to kind of compare. Again, we're trying to compare St. George's kind of setup, right? I mean, it's not just the whole working thing. It's the whole living lifestyle kind of situation.
Yeah.
And remember, we are licensed realtors here in the state of Utah, so as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us. And don't forget that the team we work with here in Utah has over 40 years of experience, so don't forget to call us or text us.